The Cheating Death podcast is a satirical program containing objective information about anything and everything under the sun. We are not political, nor are we religious. We are analytical, perhaps a bit prodigious. You, dear listener, understand that this world is filled with calamity and cataclysms. However, does that mean that we need to turn away and run in the opposite direction? No, it does not. It means that we need to put more focus and emphasis on just how hard we are willing to work to configure a solution. And by that, you know that you are listening to the Cheating Death podcast. On today's episode of the Cheating Death podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we provide insight on why the United States of America is not a democratic institution, despite concepts and common occurrences of individuals believing that their vote matters. There are a litany of examples that prove as to why this is not ultimately the case. We also provide you with a top 5 list of more flags, dear listeners. Yes, we are in flag country today, as well as we provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, an all-new joke of the episode, and much, much more. When we ask ourselves exactly what we are able to do to focus and to provide an opportunity for us to expand our minds, we must find entertaining and amusing situations. So head on over to Instagram.com/backroomcomedyclub and follow all of the legendary comedians and producers, associate personnels, directors, and extraordinary individuals within the confines of our links in the episodes and in the podcast description. And dear listener, you know full well that within the world of catastrophe, there are hopes, there are chances for a brighter tomorrow. And you, dear listener, you know what to do by now. Grab yourself that iced coffee, put your feet up on that table, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. Dear listener, we always work towards a brighter tomorrow, but do we provide ourselves with the love and the security and the respect that we deserve today? More often than not, we do not. Note to yourself that the moving of the goalposts when it comes to your goals, your dreams, your objectives, these have seemingly become natural elements within the confines of society that we find ourselves in. But we do see the very reality of life in the fabric of the clandestine nature of how we sabotage ourselves on an almost daily basis, but we choose to turn a blind eye. We constantly seek validation, representation, as well as calm situations. But do we ever look inside that mirror and see ourselves for what we truly are? And that is beasts, that is leviathans, that is individuals in whom are capable of the absolute most difficult and arduous challenges known to man. Move forward in a way in which would be able to bring us towards a brighter tomorrow and a better destiny. There are no questions in which we cannot provide ourselves, in which there are answers that are easily found. Because the human nature is to constantly ask, constantly learn, constantly grow, and yet we find ourselves being suppressed at almost every single level, and more often than not, that suppression comes from within. It does not come from external stimuli or sources. We choose to lock ourselves into mental boxes to which we feel that we have lost the key, but in actuality, the key is inside of us all along. We need to focus and we need to understand and believe in everything that we are doing. Otherwise, what is the point? There is no particular endeavor in which is too strong for humans to face at this particular juncture in history. So look in that mirror. Ask yourself how you are going to accomplish your task. Smile and prepare yourself for your future. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, 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 meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tage und eine gute Nacht. Ist deine Reisende und deine Ausländer, deine Allesfresser, deine Künstler, deine Schauspieler, deine Vernichter. Und ist deine Herz gebrochen? Ich will eines meiner Freunde. Ich bin bereit. Wohin das was ist und heute ist ein schöner Tag. Today, dear listeners, we provide you with a little bit of a treat, and we explain to you as to how and why the United States of America is indeed not a democratic institution, merely one that masquerades as a democratic and progressive movement. For you see, dear listeners, ever since the United States of America's formation in 1776, the whole ideology that it was for the people, by the people, and each and every single individual so shall have their equal say, was always met with footnotes, caveats, and small little memorandums in which were required in order for them to see exactly whose vote counted. Understand, dear listeners, that ever since the formation of the country, the vote has been skewed towards the upper echelon, the upper elites, for as we are well aware, slavery took place in the 1700s, the 1800s, and even into the 1900s in modern day. But it began way there at the beginning of 1609, back when the Dutch were finally making a decision to move from Europe all the way over to North America. To this day, in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, the Bronx, you can see for yourself exactly what type of inspiration the Dutch had upon the creation and the formation of North America. You may even go to Cape Cod in Massachusetts. You may visit Delaware. You may visit Rhode Island and see small snippets, small little bits and pieces of what the Dutch had done in order to create their own idea of what their new nation was going to be. And even then, there was a skewed line of voting, a very bizarre way of pitching the new revolution, the new regime politically as well as geographically. And that did not get lost when the 1776 era was upon us, when the Mayflower crossed over and had Thanksgiving with the Pilgrims. Do you think it was as genuine, as reasonable, as feasible, and as beautiful as the textbooks in history class in America make it out to be? Absolutely not. For you see, dear listener, the issues that were held within the lines of the protocols of the votes, the democratic and the political system in 1776 when George Washington was elected the first president of the United States of America. The vote was always meant to benefit a select few. The vote was always meant to benefit those in whom were in power and those in whom benefited directly from their contributions to said power as well. We ask ourselves exactly how and why it got to that point, and how the United States of America was able to create a completely unique country on the basis of the voting as well as the elected register system. But we look no further, dear listener, than providing an answer to that question by providing you with a term. Let us see if you know what it means. Gerrymandering is the term that we are speaking of today, dear listeners. For you see, gerrymandering in and of itself is defined as a political manipulation. Well, political manipulation of what, you ask? Well, when one looks into the way the United States of America has been formed and established on the basis of which district and or which area is more important in terms of voting, this is a particular area of manipulation of votes that benefits a particular socioeconomic class, manipulating it as such so that you may crack the particular voting power of any particular party in which may or may not oppose the current status quo. Understand, dear listeners, that gerrymandering, it may also be used as a way to protect those in whom are currently in Congress, and those in whom are currently situated into different areas, and or not providing themselves with fairness or anything else that would be associated with being fair to each and every single class of individual within said area. Ask yourself when the last time it was that your vote counted, or that you felt that it actually had any substance, meaning, or impact beyond what you were told in that particular time. Your vote, in and of itself, does not count. It does not matter unless it follows the status quo. We ask people constantly, did you vote in this week's election? Did you vote in the opportunity to change for a brighter tomorrow? More often than not, we find ourselves voting. But does it actually make anything better? No. On the 26th of March, 1812, the term gerrymandering was brought into the political discourse when politician, the individual known as Elbridge Gerry, or Gary, depending on how you particularly pronounce it, it was utilized as a word to create the redrawing of the Massachusetts Senate for particular voting districts and zip codes that were responsible for ensuring that these particular individuals remained in power. Note that the term and its identification was that of being slippery like a salamander, in that the gerrymandering ideology is very dark, very disturbing, and very, very clandestine. Asking yourself how to redraw an electoral map, you may wonder why it's possible. Well, dear listeners, it is ever so simple. For you see, if that particular type of gerrymandering were not implemented on a regular basis, the power in which has been put into place over decades and centuries of work and manipulation would not be as to how the aristocracy or the overlords, so to speak, of the venture capital runners of the United States of America, they would not have the power they desire. So every few years they go in and they manipulate and they redraw these electoral maps in order for individuals to see just how hard it will be to remove a particular individual from power. There is much to be said about why the United States of America does not have the exact same level of autonomy as other countries do, why there is such a constant masquerade of freedom, of values, of unique behavior and individualism. These particular reasons are so that the individuals in whom are responsible for these particular injustices are never brought to any sort of trial. They are never brought to justice. And the regular human being in the United States of America constantly votes and hopes for a brighter tomorrow, but are always constantly lied to, constantly bewildered, and constantly brought to a point to where they know that they are living within a dictatorship. But I am not telling you anything that you don't already know, dear listener. And until next time, thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. At the top of today's list, we promised you another top 5 flag list. So without further ado, let's rapid fire and dive right in. Coming in at number 5, we have the flag of the Czech Republic. Coming in at number 4, we have the Chinese flag. Coming in at number 3, we have one of the most beautiful flags known to man, and that is the Hungarian flag. Coming in at number 2, we have one of the most unique and inspiring flags of any particular statehood, and one that might surprise some people, but we have the flag of Ohio, for it is one of the only flags ever in history to be in circulation, as well as to have a pinwheels type attachment to it, with triangles rather than a straight rectangle. And of course, dear listeners, coming in at number 1, we have one of the best flags of all time, the flag of the German Democratic Republic. What are your top 5 favorite flags? Feel free to email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com or comment beneath this video. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. The tides of war should never, ever be forgotten. However, one must understand that if we were to try to use ChatGPT to navigate a minefield, we wouldn't end up going in one direction. We would end up everywhere. Over the course of time, the United States of America has proven itself to be quite the bothersome individual as it pertains to the perception that individuals are so free in their way to vote that they have the ultimate opportunity to choose for themselves exactly how and why their country is shaped going forward. But this could not be any further from the truth, dear listener. We take into account exactly what is required for people to see exactly what needs to be done. But from that particular perspective, we see the end of all things as being a particular calamity in which they must avoid. Now, this being the end of all things, methodology and or ideology, the United States of America operates under what is called constant pressure, constant tyranny, as well as constant fear-mongering that is perpetuated by the government in and of themselves at a federal and a state level. We are not lost to the fact that when you take into consideration the 250 years that the United States of America has been around, think about who has decided upon the geographic distances, the districts themselves, as well as the areas in which the most important votes are situated, to where the idea that your vote means just as much in Mobile, Alabama, as it does in Los Angeles, California, is completely unfounded and untrue. For you see, when it comes to the very notion and the concept that someone within rural Kansas will have just as much a say as someone within an urban metropolis like New York City, we are fooling ourselves if we genuinely believe that to be the case. There is no particular situation to where these individuals are actually finding themselves in a position to where their freedom is any more a concept or any more of a choice than those in whom are responsible for those voting decisions in America. Ask yourself, when was the last time there was an actual politician in the United States of America who genuinely and decently empathized with the people? Go ahead. Think about it. No, I did not think that you could find an answer or a solution either. But is this limited to the United States of America? No, it is not. For you see, gerrymandering is a tool that has been used for centuries in order to carve up districts via zip codes and postal codes and being able to control people within that manner. And we touched on that in the episode for a reason. That the idea that each and every single individual's vote counts just as much as the next man is a lost art, a lost thought, a lost feeling. We ask ourselves exactly what can be done, but do we really do anything to move toward a brighter tomorrow and perpetuate a better existence for others? No, America. No, you do not. And it isn't your fault. This was all predestined and pre-designed in order for you to feel as if you have freedom of choice, as well as to feel as if your vote counts. But in the end, we all understand that it is okay to admit that we were wrong. It is perfectly acceptable to be upset with the ways that your political system is. All we must do is do our very best to move forward. And until next time, thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Nacht and Lieben CRDVC, Cleric or Chaos, somewhere you can find all podcasts on all platforms. If you'd like to support the program, you may do so by buying merchandise, purchasing a cameo, buying us a coffee, or much, much more. Links in the episodes and in the podcast description. Please be sure to follow Backroom Comedy Club at Instagram.com/Backroom Comedy Club for shows 5 nights a week at 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. at 814 Bloor Street West in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. As well as be sure to follow legendary comedians Nicole Rhiannon, as well as Darren Burke, Alex Burke, Damon Charles, James McKenzie, and so much, much more. Follow us on Instagram to get the lowdown on the comedian extraordinaire and the lovely ways that keep you free from despair. Also, be sure to follow us at youtube.com/@clericofchaos, where we are trying to get more than 100 subscribers before the end of the summer. As well, follow each and every single one of our social medias at the pinned profile posts available in the episodes and in the podcast description. Ask yourselves, dear listeners, are you experiencing an emergency calamity, psychiatric issues, gambling abuse, substance withdrawal, calamity of much, much more, domestic violence, or any certain particular points of contention? Please contact one of the telephone numbers listed in the links in the episodes and in the podcast description as well. As well, dear listeners, you know, dear yourself, that you are able to find a way through your calamity. Give these numbers a call and they will assist you in any way they can. If you are looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center, for they are in dire need of your support. As well, remember to visit yummypets.com/voice. Create an account and click the button every day for pets to have an opportunity to receive 330 pounds of kibble to their local shelter for them to receive sustenance on the morrow. As well, identify specific points, the grateful opportunities that we have to thank the W Burger Bar at 10 College Street, open 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday, with deals at lunch starting at $9.99, happy hour specials from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. starting at $6.50 per meal, as well as $2.25 for a glass of Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, $6.99 for frozen cocktails, and $9.99 for fish bowls. You cannot go wrong with the W Burger Bar. And we'd like to thank Dundas Shawarma as well at 768 Dundas Street West in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, open daily from 11 a.m. all the way through till midnight, with some of the most delicious pizza and shawarma in town. And dear listener, if you find yourself in a position to where you are at a crossroads, ultimately understand this particular endeavor does not have an easy answer nor an easy solution. There is no one-track way for you to look through and identify the end from the very beginning. The horizon will provide you with focus and will give you perspective. But that does not mean that you yourself are lost. It just means that you are finding your way. Remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.